So every time we get some pretty heavy rains, the problem we have is water pooling in right here. So normally what it's supposed to happen, gutter's supposed to do its thing, run, but yeah, it doesn't work like that. Instead, the water piles up over here because this is the path of least resistance, and then it just flows right in the garage. Look for a couple solutions. The first one was obviously cut into the cement and have a pillar there, or like a little step up. You can see it used to have one. One of the tenants took it out because he had a big doozy and it couldn't get through the garage because that little 2 inches made a big difference. So he cut that out and he was able to get it in, but now we have this problem with the rain. So there actually is a pretty cheap solution that I've actually found works pretty well. This will give you about 2 inches of lift. It's a rubberized solution. This goes straight across the front and the garage door seats right on top of it. I'll show you guys how to put it in, but basically it's just like a long rubber tubing that goes along the base of this, and it will provide a waterproofing or waterproofing, whatever you want to call it. I'll show you what it looks like. Maybe they have like a little diagram. Yeah, here we go. So it kind of looks like this. Just like little rubber stuff. Goes all the way across the base, and you can see how the garage door sits. We even tried replacing the flaps and everything. Water still gets through. So this is going to be our solution. We're actually going to seal it to the ground too. So this will add even more waterproofing. But first, we need to go ahead and get this cleaned up. Pretty simple instructions. Just going to use a broom and clean it up pretty nice. We got this laid out right here. I'm going to let actually the garage door helps. Cool. Turn on some lights. We got this laid out. You can see the 2 lines. This is how you're going to lay it. You see how you have one line here, the second one here. And the 2 lines are going to go onto the outside. Notice how I have it pushed back a bit. This is because that's where the garage door lays. You can kind of see the mark there. You want this little like huge bump thing behind the door. That way, when it rains or when it pours or whatever, you have the seal on the door pressing it down. You can kind of see how this solution is. It's literally butted right up against it. So it'll look something like this. I'm gonna trim it. It's not super thick material, so you can cut it with a utility knife. But the goal is, you can see how it's like literally flush with this. I don't want to see any daylight. So I'm going to press it up and then I'm going to glue it into place. And that's it, guys. Right now oops, that was a little bit too hard. Right now I took the door off the track so I can move it up and down. But that's about it. You measure it into place. First you get it cleaned up, you cut it to size. I'm going to cut this loose piece off and then I'm going to glue it down with this stuff. I'll show you guys the finished product. I'll straighten it out a little bit so it looks a bit nicer, and I'll use the door as kind of like the gauge or measurement tool, whatever. Anyways, guys, I'll show you in a second. You see what I'm doing? This is kind of the pattern I'm making. It's a little bit rough. Art was not my best class, but yeah, I'm just going along this strip. You can see I'm kind of going to the edge of this and then going about an inch over, because this back half of the flap, like this is where the door sits. So basically this black line is gonna be just like this. So you're gonna have a little bit back or a little bit extra back here. So that's why I'm going back just a tad. This is kind of like a silicone waterproof sealant. So this keeps it from kind of going under the door. So I'm kind of doubling it up because it gets pretty heavy over here, especially over there. So I'm gonna go really heavy over there with the glue. I'm gonna go back and hit it right now. I'm just making sure I have enough glue to get the rest of this, and then I'll get that filled in. She's in. So it's a little bit of excess over here and there, but that's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and roll this down and make sure this is pressed in, but I just used the door, just kind of going along this and just pushing down, and that's gonna smash it down. If there's any excess, it's literally just silicone. You can either get it while it's wet, or when it dries up, you can go ahead and just cut it off. But boom, look, you see? It's water coming in right here. It's just water trapped in the door gasket for this one, but that's how it's getting in. So I'm gonna throw a bunch of silicone over there. I gotta dab that up and wipe it up. But that's it. Make sure that it's tight and tucked right here. Then I'm gonna caulk the mess out of it right here. You can kind of see a little gap up there, but I'm gonna make sure that's got a bunch of silicone on it to keep water from getting in. But that's it, guys. Show you how it looks. For the most part, pretty decent. I'll clean up those little splotches. Make sure it's nice and flat. All right, here's the finished product. Done and sealed. You can see there's a little bit of scuff marks or squiggle marks, whatever, but I'll clean those up later. Close the garage door. Fits nice and snug. And this will solve the rain issues. You can see I globbed it up right here. I didn't glob it up too much to where it gets all over the door, but it's enough to be like, nah bruh, to the water. But you can see the blue line, it lines all the, actually you can't, I'm walking too fast. But you can see the back blue line lines up with the edge of the door. That's all we need to do, boys and girls. Yeah, girls do this stuff too. All right, peace out, guys.